All right, what's up, guys? Welcome to the Conscious Health Podcast. You got your host, me, TJ Jensen, men's holistic health coach, helping men with building muscle mass, raising testosterone, and helping men just increase in self-awareness to help men to be their best selves. And then I got my boy here, Ryley. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Ryley Cribbin. I am as of right now, I'm coaching one-on-one at my gym in Listowel, Ontario, and transitioning into coaching families on their health journey overall. So
Awesome, cool stuff. Yeah, I've actually never met Ryley physically, but I just met you through Instagram. I saw your stuff. I liked what you were posting. I liked what you're sharing with people, and so just like you said, he helps out families, which I think is really cool. That's something I don't hear a lot of helping families as a whole. So I think it's really amazing with where we're going and with health these days. That's awesome.
yeah, I appreciate it.
Yeah. So how long have you been doing this, Riley?
So I've been training one-on-one at my gym for about a year and a half, and I've just been transitioning into doing that as well as online coaching. And so transitioning into helping families learn about health and how parents can kind of guide their children in the right direction. And yeah, so about a year and a half overall, and just making my way into online coaching right now.
Awesome. It's cool. And then what specific results do you focus on helping people get in health? Like, do you stay with more of a broad result, or do you have a specific thing you like to help people achieve?
I would say I have a fairly broad spectrum of results.
Yeah.
I'm really focusing on overall health rather than just losing 15 pounds or gaining 5 pounds of muscle or anything specific like that. My main goal is to help people achieve the understanding of health and be able to implement it in their own lives in basically all facets. So mentally, physically, spiritually, overall, and kind of like a more holistic approach.
Right. Yeah. That's the way to do it. To take the person as a whole and help them. So what are some of like maybe the modalities? What are some? I guess what are some of your favorite modalities or certain things that you like to help people to do to help them be better?
Yeah. So number one is nutrition. Honestly, um, nutrition and mindset kind of go hand in hand as number one. But if you're not eating properly and you're not fueling your body with natural foods, then the chances of you succeeding in other facets of your life are very slim, um, or not being able to reach your full potential, I should say, is very slim. So, nutrition is kind of number one for me, and then understanding the mindset behind why food is so important, and
Yeah.
then we kind of transition into learning about toxicities in your home and other toxicities that you're being susceptible to on a day-to-day basis, like what's in your water and in the air and what you're breathing in at your home, and kind of trying to transition into basically getting as close to nature as you possibly can. That's kind of my main goal for people.
Awesome, man. Just getting back to your roots. Yeah, I got
That's
a
great.
lot of questions about that. I guess let's start with toxicity. So how do you I guess what are the ways that you would help people check their homes for mold? Like, is there a certain way you do that, or
So mold is a tough one.
yeah,
Obviously, mold is very destructive to the human body and to basically everything, actually. But it's a hard one to detect. If I'm dealing with somebody who lives in an older home, then the first question I ask them is how long have they been living in the home? And then I start to ask them if they're noticing the effects of what somebody experiencing mold toxicity would be experiencing.
yeah,
Um, and then from there, it's kind of just if they feel like they're not, if they have brain fog or they've gained allergies since they moved into that home that they didn't have before, and all the other things that you would be noticing from mold toxicity, then I would recommend that they open up a wall or check spots in their home that obviously would be susceptible to mold. But mold is a tough one, and a lot of people are experiencing mold toxicity, and it could be from something as simple as a water bottle that they've been using for years.
interesting. Oh,
Yeah.
oh yeah. I think that's one of those things where, um, like in the field that we work with, when we're helping people, like we know the simple stuff of eating right, exercising, but it's, I think it's good to look into things like that, where these are things where sometimes people aren't talking about this, and people don't realize how much that's going to be affecting your health, and especially if you're eating right, you're exercising still, but you're still not seeing results, and this mold or toxicity in your home could be something that's holding you back. That's really
Absolutely.
interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
What is mold the main one? Is there other things that we could be looking for in our homes that?
Mold, yeah, mold is definitely not the main one. I would say mold definitely causes a lot of issues, but again, it's hard to detect. And
Yeah,
unless you're willing to invest the money to have your home checked by an inspector, then it's definitely not something that I hammer down on. What I'm looking at with a lot of clients is how they can eliminate synthetic products from their home. So,
hmm, okay.
examples like candles, cleaning apparatuses or cleaning products that they use, like even just like Tide Pods or um, their dishwasher detergent, things like
Wow,
that. So
okay.
things that people use on a day to day basis that have no natural products within them. They are completely synthetic and causing a lot of harm to their health overall. So I try and switch people over to natural um, alternatives, and it's a slow process, but I think it's important just because if you are living in a home, essentially homes are closed in. Humans aren't even meant to live in a closed off home. And we spend, on average right now, the average human spending 98% of their entire life indoors. So if you're turning your home into essentially a bomb of synthetic products, you're living in that for 98% of your life. So if you're
Right.
breathing in bad air and you're using products that you're eating off of, like a dishwasher detergent, you're eating those things every single day. You're breathing those things in every single day. So turning your home into as close back to natural as possible is super
Hmm.
important.
Wow, yeah, that's way cool. Yeah, so I guess I'm knowledgeable in some things you mentioned. Candles, though, that's a new one. So what is? Let me think how to word this. What could be in possible candles that we may have in our homes that could be affecting us?
Well, most candles are petroleum based candles. So if
Okay.
they're not a soy based candle or beeswax candle or whatever other alternative, most of them are petroleum based, which means you are breathing in gas fumes all day
Hmm.
long.
Wow.
And as soon as you light that candle and let it burn in your house, that's going to allow for residue to set in. It's going to go into your cushions. It's going to go into it's essentially seeping into your air that you're breathing in. So candles
Interesting.
are
Okay.
a big no no. They are
Hmm.
not, they haven't been talked about as a negative thing.
Yeah.
For most people, they don't understand that, which is totally understandable. But
Yeah.
yeah, there's not too many things that are worse than a candle, petroleum based candle.
Wow. That's news to me. That's
And
cool.
for you, I know you work with testosterone with men a lot, and soy based candles, that's a big no no. So anything
Hmm.
soy based is super detrimental to men's
Right.
testosterone, and soy based candles are one of those things.
Yeah. Huh. Wow. Yeah. I've looked at all sorts of things with candles. That blows my mind. That's cool. It makes sense though. Yeah, it's something I'll have to look into in my own home.
Well, think about it. You're you're lighting something to make your air smell better,
Yeah.
but you're breathing in synthetic air, and whatever that candle's made of is what you're breathing in, and it's made
Yeah.
by petroleum based products. So
Yeah.
that's a bad one.
Well, I'm glad you shared that with me because yeah, just recently
Mhm.
I actually started lighting a candle every night while I brush my teeth instead of having the bright lights on, so my body can start producing more melatonin before I go to bed.
Yep.
So in that aspect, it's helpful. But now that you've told me that, I'll have to rethink about products I got going on. So that's awesome. That's
Look
really cool.
into yeah, no problem. Look into beeswax candles.
Okay,
That's the only natural form of candle that is beneficial and also safe
gotcha.
for your home.
Okay, sweet. Yeah,
Mhm.
cool. So I want to dig into more of the nutrition and mindset stuff because I know I guess the certain things I teach men with nutrition and how to have a better loving relationship with food.
Mhm.
I guess what are in that realm, what are some of your favorite things to help people to do to have a better life and a better relationship with their food?
That's a good question. My main goal with people and their nutrition is to essentially move them, like I said, as close to nature as possible because that is how humans are supposed to eat. So I try and push people towards a protein-based diet filled with
Yeah.
ruminant meat, which is cattle, elk, bison, buffalo, anything with four stomachs. And then essentially that takes up 75-80% of their diet, and then the rest is fruits that are lower on the pesticide um, exposure list. So you're looking at fruits that have rinds over top of them rather than something like a strawberry or a raspberry, which, if
Mm-hmm.
sprayed with pesticides, the fruit is going to absorb that, and that's what you're going to eat. You can wash fruits off with baking powder, which can eliminate the pesticide absorption. But overall, if you're eating fruits like mangoes, pineapples, bananas, or organic, like Canadian blueberries, for example, fruits like that
Yeah.
where you can avoid pesticide exposure.
Mm-hmm.
And then if they're lucky enough to have some access to raw dairy products, which in Canada is super rare, but
Uh-huh.
there are some ways to do so. I know in the States where you're at, there are certain places where you can get raw dairy products.
Yeah.
And if you have access to those, then I highly recommend people do those. It's one of the most nutrient dense foods we have access to on this planet, and along with red ruminant meat and organic fruit.
Hmm.
So that's kind of my process for eating. And I really just try, and obviously it's tough for people to eliminate ultra processed foods from their diet completely.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I don't tell people to do that instantly, but I do try
Right.
and guide them to try and I want them to be aware how negative those foods are to their health.
Yeah.
And once you can help people understand that those are affecting their sleep and their energy levels and their capacity to think critically and et cetera, once you help people understand that it's not just a negative thing towards their health, like people just
Yeah.
think of like nutrition as like, oh, I don't eat that good, I don't eat that bad. It
Yeah.
is what it is, but
Yeah.
it contributes to your overall enjoyment in life. So that's what I try and help people understand through basically those three types of consumables.
Awesome. Yeah. Wow.
Mhm.
That's amazing. That's cool. Yeah. I've seen, so in myself and my clients, I've definitely seen a lot of benefits from having a high protein diet and having that your main macronutrient you're focusing on. Because, of
Yep.
course, as you know, it helps you to remain full longer. It helps your body to be able to keep a higher metabolism. And so those are really, really good things, especially the meat. I know for me personally, I do eat, I try and eat my grass fed red meat more. I eat a lot of bird meat. I eat a lot of chicken. I eat a lot of turkey.
Okay.
Um, yeah, no, yeah, meat's good, and then definitely the fruit too. I think it's good to have that mix, and
Yeah.
because I know a lot of people like the carnivore diet, and a lot of people like being a vegan or vegetarian. I mean, really, whatever works with you, and what you can stay consistent with at the end of the day is going to be best. So there's a lot of good benefits from all those things. So that's really awesome.
Yeah. I really like to explain to people that it can be what's best for you or what your mindset is towards it. So if you're a vegan or you want to try and eat a vegan diet,
Mm-hmm.
give it a shot, but don't have your mindset completely for it going into it. So there's people that do a vegan diet for a year and they're suffering for most of that year, but they're just
Yeah.
doing it because they told themselves whatever they didn't want to eat
Mm-hmm.
animal products because of harming the animals that they're eating or whatever their reasoning is. But
Right.
you should be trying these things, whether it's a carnivore or a vegan or a keto diet, whatever it is, try it. And if it's not working for you, then make changes.
Yeah.
I see so
Yeah.
many people, vegetarians and vegans specifically, who do these things and they're experiencing so many negative effects from them, but
Yeah.
they don't make changes. And then they speak to somebody who is on the other side of the spectrum, like me, who's animal based, but majority carnivore, and helping so many people convert to an animal-based diet who are seeing so many benefits with very little or no negative effects from it. And then when you explain it to them in the right way, they can understand it and understand why the products that they're consuming are making them feel like shit, essentially. So don't make a decision on your diet and just stick to it just because you made that decision. If you're noticing negative effects, then it's because of what you're eating. And this is what a lot of people don't understand, or they don't want to admit that they were wrong for choosing that diet, or maybe they committed too hard to it and they started telling people that, oh, I'm a vegan, and then people asked why, and they gave their reasoning, and then they just stuck with it instead of being a critical thinking human being and changing when things aren't going right.
Sometimes we don't like to admit when we're wrong, or maybe when we could learn more from a certain situation. But I totally agree with what you said, and I think sometimes when I talk about this a lot on this channel, is where people they go into a diet and then they get really strict with it, and they're like, and it's also, I see this a lot with people who are maybe really overweight and they want to lose a lot of weight really quickly. And so they go into the strict diet and they say, okay, for the next 6 months, I'm going to go keto or carnivore or whatever. But they do with the mindset that they are going to be really strict. They're just going to do that. And then after 6 months is over, they don't have a plan. It's just, I'm just going to go back to whatever I was doing. And so and I think that's still actually a really popular thing that people do. I still see that a lot. And so, and it's not because people are dumb or whatever, just because sometimes we don't plan ahead. We don't think consistency. Like how can this diet, not that diets are all bad. Diets can help us to learn certain things so we can keep going our lives to actually enjoy food and to know more about food and how it affects our bodies. We just got to go into it with a longer mindset, a more sustainable mindset of, okay, how can I let this heal my body? Because it's not, like you said, there's a lot of people that are in the middle of, well, I don't eat terrible and I don't eat amazing, but I'm okay. But you don't realize how good you could feel if you were eating really healthy for a consistent amount of time, other than a few months doing a strict diet or whatever it is. And I think another important thing too is to remember that's like, it's not just about being super strict or disciplined. Like, you want to actually like love your food. You want to love your life. You want to enjoy it. And and I think food is meant to do that. Even when it's really healthy, it's not some ultra processed junk that makes your brain light up. And so, diets are very important, and your relation to food is very important, because it's something that you're gonna have a relationship with for the rest of your life. So, very good stuff. It's awesome.
Yeah, no, I like that. I think that's why it's super important to teach when we're working with clients. It's super important to teach them about the food, not just tell them what to eat and for how long. A lot of people just want you to say, eat this for 3 months and you'll feel better, and they'll do it and they'll feel better. But what I like to do is I like to teach them and allow them to consume the information and the knowledge so that they can continue to do it for the rest of their life. It's not just a carnivore diet can be a fad diet if the person does it for 3 months and then goes back to how they were eating before, but that's not beneficial at all. So it's important to understand why the foods are doing what they're doing to your body, why they're better than alternatives, and everything else that goes along with it. But the knowledge is the most important part, transferring knowledge to clients so that they have a full understanding of why they're doing what they're doing and how it's going to benefit them in the long run.
Right. Yep. Yeah. And then it's something I'll tell clients all the time. It's like, look, I'm trying to help you not just to jump from trainer to trainer to just see what not only was even best for you, but I want myself to be the last trainer you ever see, the last coach you ever see, so you can be self-sustainable, so you can be someone that, like you said earlier, just critically thinks for themselves and goes, okay, what am I putting in my body right now, and how is it gonna affect me? Because of course we know that ultra processed foods are made to the finest detail to be something that you want to eat over and over and over again. And they can even be really healthy sometimes. Like I eat protein bars that you can tell they're going to be made in a way that they want you to keep buying the same ones over and over and over again, and they may not have all the best stuff for you. So it's definitely something you got to be aware of. Being aware of these things will help you to realize what the incentives are for certain companies. They're trying to profit off of your ill health, really, and your ignorance.
Exactly.
So,
That's
yeah,
exactly it.
that's awesome. So I'm curious, so as far as training people physically, do you have a certain process you do for people? Are you, yeah, I guess just tell me about the process. I don't know how specific you get with the physical aspect.
As far as strength training goes,
Yeah.
yeah. So no matter who's coming to me, whether they are, I'm working with a 16-year-old or I'm working with a 6-year-old woman. Obviously, my approach differs in that they're not going to be doing the same exercises, the same intensity,
Right.
but they are all going to be strength training because strength training is important no matter what age you're at. And it's going to increase your longevity. It's going to increase your enjoyment in life. And it's going to allow you to live basically at your fullest capacity. So if you don't have strong hips and strong knees as a 60-year-old woman, then the longer as you age, those things are going to become weak and eventually they're going to falter. And those are the things that people don't necessarily like to look at with strength training.
Yeah.
They don't understand fully how beneficial it is for the human body. Skeletal muscle is the number one determinant of health. So if you do not have muscle on your body, you are less healthy. That is very simple. And as you age, it's more important because falls lead to severe implications, and that's not what people want. But they also don't understand how important strength training is, so they don't implement it. And so I think just again trying to teach people to understand how important it is to do this for the rest of their life, not just to do it until they feel like they're strong or they feel like they've lost enough weight and then they just kind of go on the back burner and try and keep it level. That's not how it works. The muscle on the human body will not stay if you're not constantly using them. And what you don't use, you lose. So
exactly.
That's how important it is.
Yeah, a very, very simple phrase, but I feel like it applies to just about everything in the human life. With muscle mass, something I tell people all the time, like it really has like the biggest of, what's the phrase, return of your investment, because when you have, like you said, more muscle mass, it's your quantity of life, it's your quality of life, it keeps your metabolism higher. And I think a big thing too that some people don't realize, like I was reading a study a few weeks ago, it was talking about metabolism. And it's talking about how with age, metabolism actually, it does decrease, but it's a very small percentage if you're only looking at age. So it's a very, very small. And so, and I still have people who tell me all the time, like, oh, well, I'm older, so my metabolism is slow. As they're like, and all the other people tell me this as they're eating chips and soda and stuff. And so I'm like, no, I think it's actually your lifestyle. And I think that's still something that we as a collective are working through, where we look at something and we don't like, we go, oh, well, it's my metabolism. I'm older and da-da-da. And yes, I can't speak from example. I'm only 25, but I can speak for my recent client right now. I think he's almost 66. In the last year, he's lost at least 40 pounds of body fat. He's put on muscle. He's got arms almost as big as mine, and he can bench way more than I can. And so, like, just people like that, they are an example of showing, like, no, it's actually mostly your lifestyle. And even for people who are doing their best, sometimes there's still other smaller things, like you were saying, toxicity from mold in your house. It could be something as simple as that, or you're inhaling some candles, a lot of artificial ingredients, and so it could be one little thing. It also could be a lot of things coming at you at once that you have to look at. And so I really like the way you're going about the fitness space and seeing all these little things and how they affect someone's life. So I think that's really awesome. Then, so to close this up, what is there, I guess, do you have any last things that you would want to share? Any favorite topic you want to discuss real quick before we close up?
I think it's just to try and instill in people that without your health, you really have nothing.
Yeah.
You can have all the money in the world. You can have all the friends in the world. You can pretend like you're the happiest person in the world. But as soon as your health starts to decline, that will be the only thing that you're going to focus on, and it will be the only
Yeah.
thing that you're worried about. I know
Yeah.
a lot of people have probably heard the quote that a healthy man has 1,000 wishes and a sick man only has one, and it couldn't be more true.
Yeah.
When people are in ill health, experiencing any ill health, their main objective is to get out of that position that they're in. The problem right now is that there's so many distractions. There's so much going on a day-to-day basis. People are just on autopilot, a lot of them, and they don't
Yeah.
realize that their health is declining and how rapidly it's declining. And when your health is declining, it doesn't just continually go down like that. It eventually will start to dive, and then
Yeah.
you're experiencing a measurable health defect that may not be fixable. And
Right.
that's usually when people realize, oh shit, I need to make changes.
Yeah.
What I want people to understand is that we need to be making the changes in the forefront. So
Mm-hmm.
we don't need to be going to the doctor asking for pharmaceuticals to fix a problem that we could have fixed on our own naturally.
Yeah.
Going to the doctor and getting those pills is not going to help you. It's going to mask the effect.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to mask the sickness, and eventually those things are going to lead to your demise, just as your ill health is going to. So basically, just the understanding of how important health is what I really want people to start understanding.
Yeah. Awesome. I love it. Yeah. Actually, so I actually just finished. I put a book out recently, and in the book, I talk about how basically I use an analogy where if you have your car, right, and the engine light comes on, you wouldn't just take the bulb out for the engine light and just keep driving the car like nothing happened. So it's basically, I think, what sometimes the mindset is with pharmaceuticals, where you take them and you see an issue and then you take them and then the issue's gone. You're like, okay, I'm good. I just need to keep taking these. I think it's the same way with your car. You wouldn't just keep driving your car until it gets worse.
Yep.
You would check under the hood and see what's going on. And so, and I think there is instances where pharmaceuticals can help with certain symptoms, and then you work on yourself while you take them. So I think they're good in that instance. But I definitely agree with what you said. What are some ways that people can go ahead and reach out to you if they need help and they like what they're listening to right now?
Yeah, they can reach out to me on Instagram at Health with Ryley, and if I'm sure I'll just send this to you and you can post it in the notes for the podcast. But
I sure will.
That would be the main place, and if they want to email me, they can reach me at Ryley@hardknockslistable.com. Cool. And yeah, those would be the two best spots.
Cool. All right. Good talking with you, Ryley. It's been a good one. I like it.
Thanks a lot for having me, man. Appreciate it.
Awesome. All right. We'll see you guys. Have a good one.